right, everybody, I guess I'm going to open this song with you. I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Let's tag it. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. One more time. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. All right.
Thank you, Sean. I like how he said one more time like we were all going to do that with him. Good morning. Yeah, it's still morning. We're good. It's a pleasure to see all of you here, and we acknowledge that each of us is an important part of what we do here together. Each of us brings something unique and special and wonderful to this collective energy that we share and create together. So thank you for being here with us. And here at Unity, we honor all of the paths that lead us to God, all of the paths that lead us to this whole spiritual journey, whatever we call it. And we're grateful that each of us is here today. And today we join with hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are reading today's daily word, which today is freedom. Free from fear, I celebrate the gifts of vulnerability. When I give power to my fears, I become like a knight in armor. My defenses shield me from what I fear, but also block me from authentic human connection. As I release the fear of getting hurt, I'm free to feel all of my feelings. Knowing at depth that I am worthy, I open my heart to give and receive freely. I choose vulnerability rather than defensiveness, humility rather than aggression. I allow my heart to open to all it is, to live from a center of love, and to treat others as I would like to be treated. As I shed my armor and embrace my vulnerability, I allow myself to live fully. Free from fear, I celebrate life. And from the Psalms, but the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant prosperity. That sounds pretty good. Just a reminder to those of us that have looked all sorts of little techie gadgets with us here at church. We're going to turn them all off now. If you are someone that needs to have your techie gadget and use it during the service, we ask that you step over into the Sunshine Gallery, and that way we can support each other in our experience here together. So thank you for turning those things off. And now Reverend Heidi's got some updates.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, that's it. My gosh. We're having a whole new season come upon us. And thank you all for springing forward. Our first affirmation can be, I'm so proud of myself. I sprang forward. Let's say that together. I'm so proud of myself. I sprang forward. And you got here. And I'm just really, really inspired. It was a little challenging for me. But I do have to come to church. So it's a great thing. I'd like to say welcome to Unity in Chicago, your home on Thome, our community of light, love, and laughter. And we have made it through winter. This new week is going to be amazing. And if you're going to need some help in grieving the winter passing, come in and talk to us, because new things are going to be born right here today, and certainly in this upcoming week. We're really going to get and see that metaphor of all the life that's underneath this experience of stillness and slowness that winter gives us. So it's all very perfect and very exciting, and it's been freezing. So there you go. All right, but we're thawing out. And I'm glad. Sean is like my fan, so I'm so into Sean and all of his comments over there. So we're such a vibrant center here, and every day of the week there's something going on. So I just wanted to tell you about a few things. We had a great time Friday night. We had our bingo night. I don't know who was here. Yes, well, we had the most extraordinary bingo master in the universe of DC. But if you were here, give yourselves a hand, because that was fun. That's it. It was really great. We'll do another bingo night. It was a good time to get together and laugh. Okay, a number of things that are happening. Monday, I always have the radio show on unity.fm. If you go to www.unity.fm, you can hear all day long and night ministers sharing, authors, all kinds of spiritual leaders. And this Monday at 3, I am interviewing L.G. Bailey, our own L.G. Bailey, that works with Eastern and Western medicine. You know, we feel out of balance. Sometimes we don't know, should I meditate and chant, or should I go, get a prescription? Nobody knows. So this idea of how do we weave East and West together, and LG is the master of East and West. She's a doctor of pharmacology, and she also is a yoga teacher and a pranic healing practitioner. So she'll be with me on Monday on the radio. All right, and then Wednesday night, we have our interview, our service. We'll have Nancy is with us singing, right? And the interviewee is one of our newest congregants. His name is Michael Corbat, and he's a singer-songwriter with the intention of sharing his spiritual journey to awaken and inspire others with his music. Is Michael downstairs, Jay? I hate to say he's there if he's not, but he could be. Okay, all right. So his latest album is called The Light. And it's a musical journey through the chakras of your body. So we'll use his CD for our meditation on Wednesday. So Wednesday at 7:30, he calls this a self-help book in musical form. So come be with Michael Cravat on Wednesday night, and we will inspire your chakras and your vibration. Okie dokie. Now, we started last Thursday our prosperity class, and we have 50 plus people. It is the most vibrant, alive group yet, because that's how it works. Consciousness keeps growing and evolving, and so a lot of people that have even been through this process before there, so they're like, we got this going on. We're showing up for this. So I just invite you, if you're wanting to get unstuck, a prosperity class is the way to do it. And we come together for a 10-week sort of, marinating in truth, and where you'll meet new people and have new ways of seeing life. And really, it is your belief about your life that allows it to work or not work. So I love the testimonies, because so many things have changed for me in prosperity classes, but I love to hear from all of our great souls. So Liz Barrett is going to come up and talk to us about her story being in the last prosperity class. Liz and her husband Mark alternate classes. They come, she comes and he comes, and one day we're just going to let the kids come and everybody can come. So tell us, Liz, about that's your precious self. Okay, good.
Hello. I took the Prosperity Plus class, the one right before this one, and with many of you that I see here, wonderful people, it was an incredibly supportive environment, and I was nervous coming, and then within 5 minutes, I knew it was going to be really a kind of a haven. So I just want to tell you one little story. We were asked to write a vision card, or the dreams for our lives, and we were asked to think big, and in terms of relationships and finances and, you know, the big things in our lives. And so I was very excited, and I did that. I worked hard on that, and I came, you know, saying I wanted to be a more compassionate mother and a better communicator and have money coming in and out of my life. And then we were to read our vision cards to our partner, my very dear, generous partner, John. Listened to me with this very open heart. And he leaned in at the end and he said, "That was wonderful, great, and?" And I thought, I did it wrong. I didn't do the assignment right, you know, because I didn't have anything else. I thought, what did I forget? And, you know, and he was just waiting to hear if there was something else from me. But I was scrambling. I looked down at the bottom of my paper, and in very small pencil I had written, I want to be excited about and open to and brave about new performance opportunities coming into my life. And I said it, and it felt like something charged, and then I kind of went, oh, okay. And then within the next few weeks, three performance opportunities dropped into my lap. Someone called, and a friend of mine said, "I'm doing a show at Steppenwolf. I think you should come audition." And a choreographer that I've secretly wanted to work with for many years emailed and said, "Would you like to be involved in this project?" And someone with a small dance film said, "Come do this." So it was really speaking to the fact that I felt like Spirit was just waiting for me to get out of the way. And just, I opened the door a little bit, and it just rushed in. And it was a real wake-up, a real eye-opening wake-up thing to just say it, just put it out there. So I want to encourage you, if you're thinking about taking the class, to do it. And you know, some surprising miracles will happen. So, thank you.
Thank you. That was so great. That's it. The power of you. That's how this works. And thanks for being mirrors for each other. I love, John, thank you for going, and that's what we can do for each other. Yes, tell me how much you love yourself and your life. And so Prosperity Plus, the reason after the second week we close the class, so if you are inspired to live a remarkable life, come and be with us. We'd need you to sign up today, and we would order your kit tomorrow, and then you come on Thursday at 6:30 and get ready for the shift to happen. So that's today. We are also journeying. We're in chapters 2 and 3 of The Power of You. And this is a book written by Reverend Chris Michaels, who is the spiritual leader of Center for Spiritual Living in Kansas City, Missouri for 25 years plus. And he calls himself the Irreverent Reverend. He's very funny. And so it's a great book. We're journeying with it for the next 4 weeks. And we have about 10 copies left out of 50. So if you want one, today's the day to get one. He's going to be with us on March 22nd. I'll be here also, but he's going to do an afternoon workshop, and you're welcome to sign up for that now, or just mark your calendars and come. We're going to have lunch between service and that workshop. So that's 2 weeks from today. Yes. All right. Okay. We're going to take off the cloak of the world and put on our spiritual sweater. Sounds corny, but it's amazing. Amazing just to be here now. Allow the Spirit of you to be present. So we say, I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. And look at two of your neighbors, or one of your neighbors. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. And now we say, I know some people have 4 neighbors. I don't know how that works. But then we say, we are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. And to hook up with this amazing spiritual family of yours, we can all rise as you are able and say to one another, I wake up through the mirror of you. All right? or you could say good morning, whatever works for you. And so now we can say, I am so full of myself. I am so full of myself. And this service and this unity movement is all about who am I? And that's what we're going to be with today. So we welcome Sean Harris and our Peter Polzak trio.
There are people who have let the problems of today lead them to the conclusion that the thought of life is not the way. But every problem has an answer, and if yours you cannot find, you should talk it over to him. He'll give you the peace of mind when you feel your life's too hard. Just go have a talk with God. Have a talk with God. Many others feel the walk alone without a friend. Never communicating with the life within. Oh, forgetting all about the one who never lets you down. You can talk to him. He'll always be around. He'll always be around anytime, 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 anytime. Well, he's the only priest God throughout
John Harris, yes. It doesn't happen without Peter, Bill, and Sarah. All right. Okay. Have a talk with God. What is that God anyway? It's said in our book that God presence is a presence whose center is everywhere and circumference is nowhere. Center is everywhere, right in you, and circumference, like this sort of container, is nowhere. It's infinite. Infinite. We talked about the size of the universe. We had a little argument last week, but we know that it's massive, and it's huge, and it's big, and so is your life and your soul. And so I'd like you to repeat no after I ask you these questions. Is God a man?
No.
Is God a person?
No.
Is God limited?
No.
Is God sad?
No.
Right. Is God mad at you?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Because if we're going to have a talk with God, we'd like it to be like, I've heard people, I had a talk with this bird, or I had an experience of connecting with nature. I had this connection with this person that we really had a healing. That is God in action. But if we make God a person, when we're creating the image and likeness of God, we've created God in the image and likeness of ourselves. And then we have, that great family member that we don't like and that's mad at us and that we're not supposed to do this. And, this life doesn't feel like our daily word that said free, right? We're free when we are able to rip off the story of the untrue, of what somebody believed many generations ago, and somehow that's my truth. I can't do that. I can't make any money doing that. I can't have a great relationship. I'm broken. Something's wrong with me. And I have proved it to myself because I believe it, and I want to prove it to myself because somehow I feel safe being that small, troubled, grasping, sad, broken, right? Have you ever looked at a kid and go, yeah, you're broken? A little baby? No way. The deal is that we all know this, and the example is used a lot, but, they used to think the earth was flat. Right? And so nobody went anywhere because the earth was flat and you were going to fall off and die. And finally, people said, well, okay, if I perish, it's better than believing like this. If I perish, it's better than playing small. And so, what was interesting about the world, the earth being flat, even though they believed it, it wasn't true. It wasn't true. So, crazy people, anybody called you crazy? Crazy people go out to disprove that which is not true in the first place. And so, we all know that Columbus, there was a lot of booze on that boat, but, they took off to prove that it wasn't true. And we know many people, Columbus was one, but many, many folks have, and we call them now, our teachers and our and the saving force of saving grace, that people have gone before us, so we know, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to disprove what I was taught by frightened people, and most of our families, our culture was frightened. We used the quote last week, beware of the small gods frightened men create. And that's what we have been dealing with, is that small God that has been created through years and years and years of fine-tuning fear. Ooh, we've got it fine-tuned. I am sure that I couldn't possibly have a life that works, and I am going to go out and prove that. Right? And so we come in here and we're like, well, that's kind of mildly interesting, not really. And tell me more, like John said to Liz. And I know maybe I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I've got this job, I'm this finite thing, I think, but there is an infinite voice that wants to come through you. So we've done this thing about God being a man. Everybody will say that we've decided that, or people decided that, because men in general were ruling. And so if God's ruling, we're going to make God a man. And It never made any sense to a lot of people, especially women. Anyway, so it's one of those, okay, so let's have a new idea. But there's, we have Jesus in that kind of old category too, that Jesus was an exception. Jesus was a savior. When really Jesus was teaching, I am the example, and this consciousness will save you. The consciousness will save you that I'm bringing. I have done my own work. I mean, we don't know where he was in his late teens, but most people think he was in India and he was meditating and growing in this consciousness, and then he came and shared it until people got, so challenged by the awakening of the mirror that he gave that they, killed him, thinking, oh, that'll go away. And it didn't, it didn't, because we're here today talking about it. Okay, so we get Jesus. So people are, constantly, okay, Jesus has the answers, and we're going to go look for Jesus. There was a teacher that said to his students, all very young students, and said, where is Jesus? And 3 hands went up, and one little boy said, Jesus is in heaven. And then the teacher said, oh, yeah, right. It's a beautiful answer. And a little girl said, Jesus is in my heart. He said, oh, that's a beautiful answer, too. And another little boy, the third one, had his hand up, and he said, so tell me, where is Jesus? And he said, Jesus is in my bathroom. And the teacher said, what? Jesus in your bathroom? And he said, yeah, Jesus is in my bathroom. Yeah, every morning my dad pounds on the door and says, Jesus Christ, are you still in there? Right? Okay. I can tell you, helps me out on Saturday to look for my joke. So, but we know, Jesus Christ, are you still in there? We're always looking for Jesus outside of ourselves. So I thought the little boy, again, it has no filter of this, Jesus is in my bathroom, right? So I wonder if we take a break and stop this idea of God outside of you just for one moment, that God is an observation of the God within you as outside of you, but the seeingness, the feelingness, the beingness is inside of you, right? And it's a fascinating truth. It's the most important truth for us to grasp, is that I can't feel anything that I don't choose to feel. I can't experience anything that I don't choose to experience. You can't make my life really better or worse because I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing with your presence or your presence not being in my life. And when we get that kind of power, we get to quit taking prisoners. We get to quit, grasping on to life like there's something missing in us. But most of us just learn that. So so our practice is always to come together and unlearn. All right, so this power of you, interestingly enough, there's a mirror right in the middle of the book. If you go downstairs and look at our bulletin board that's put together by our tremendously creative staff, there are mirrors all over, and you just go look at your fine self in that mirror, and you can say your name, and I love you, and practice how that feels, right? Because that's your primary relationship, is the power of you. And Chris, like most of us, Reverend Chris, had a journey, like many folks, that from the beginning, no one told him that he was unlimited possibility. In fact, he had his life where he was constantly running into what his saying is, you are not good enough. Anybody ever think that about themselves? So in this chapter of self-discovery, he says, I want to share my own story with you because I believe in some way everyone's story is part of the story of the great humanity. Each of us in our own individual way trying to discover our true self. Somehow at a very young age, I learned I'm not going to be good enough. Maybe the message came from a family member or a kid at school, or maybe I just absorbed it from the negative culture we live in. Whatever the case, the message was received loud and clear, you're not good enough. By second grade, I learned that I couldn't make it as an artist because I had no skills at drawing or painting. By fifth grade, all it took was one PE class to learn that nature had not designed my body for athletic endeavors. By sixth grade, I was being bullied by the other boys in school. And maybe that's why in 7th grade I started using drugs. I used to smoke pot every day in an alleyway across the street from school. Why is there always that alleyway? I had an alleyway like that too. When that didn't satisfy me, I started taking these tiny little pills called White Cross before typing class. It was amazing how much faster I could type on amphetamines. At 13, I got on a purple microdot acid at Led Zeppelin concert. The year was 1970 and the drug culture was in full force. At 14, in 8th grade, I got kicked out of school. The principal caught me smoking Marlboros on campus. Finally, by 12th grade, my self-destructive behavior was more than just a part-time endeavor. It was a well-established, full-time habit. By then, the message was so deeply ingrained in my psyche that I repeated it over and over again in my head, even when others had stopped saying, "You are not good enough." So this idea of I am not good enough will block every new idea. And not only is it at 100% not true, it's something that has become a habit. It is a habit that we'll defend. It's a habit that we'll defend if we're going to start wanting to go into a new job. You know, nobody's going to contact me. It's a secret that I like this person that could give me a job. You know, we keep everything to ourselves because we don't want to be vulnerable enough by saying that I am enough. So Chris goes on to say, there was a desperate longing in my soul that I kept trying to satisfy with anything that would make me happy, even if the happiness was short-lived. And to me, that really is the definition of addiction. And whatever that would be, I have a pain in me. I don't know how to deal with it. I was never around people that dealt with their pain. And so the way that we deal with pain is to use a substance. So I have now made that decision that I don't feel pain, I numb it. And that is my life, path. That is my decree. And so we go along, and I know even after giving up alcohol, I had to look at food, and I had to look at, trying to save people that didn't want to be saved, and, addiction went on and on and on, until, as he said, and he had gone through many years on his spiritual path to say, the problem is that since I think I'm not good enough, when pain comes up, and it reminds me that I believe that, instead of healing that, I have to numb it with some kind of a substance, with some kind of an activity. And I think in this culture, we are really good at busy-holism. Can you relate? Just to stop and give yourself maybe even a day off. I'm not going to look too carefully at my own life right now. But to really stop and not answer the phone for a day or for an afternoon or even for an hour, right? And so because all those answers are within us, and if we're not listening, we can feel like we're on this merry-go-round, and maybe next year I'll figure it out. Or maybe the next book, or the next relationship, or the next job. But see, the deal is, this book, the tagline of this book says, how to live your authentic, exciting, joy-filled life now. Now. So let's practice now, because this Western American world, now is like, I don't have time for now. I'm already over in my other part of my schedule, and so now is just boring. So let's just practice now. Let me invite you to just close your eyes and feel the weight of the material of your clothing on your body. Is it smooth? Is it heavy? Is it light? You can feel it on your arms, on your legs. What does the material feel like? Am I warm? Am I cold? What is going on in my body? Am I hungry? Did I have some food? Do I feel calm? Do I feel a little anxious? And where am I feeling that in my body? And then we keep breathing. This beautiful breathing experience is happening. And we breathe in and let your lungs fill, and notice your lungs, these beautiful, extraordinary vessels that hold air. And then we breathe out. And we recognize that breathing is happening, And I can feel my lungs. Gosh, I don't pay attention to my lungs very much. And they're the essential element of how my life is being sustained. So just be with that awareness of what's happening in your body right now. And as you're ready, just open your eyes. Yeah, it's a beautiful practice. I know when I'm feeling anxious or I'm already thinking about the next thing or what somebody else is thinking or there's a stressful situation, I close my eyes and I just focus my breath on these great lungs that I don't pay any attention to. And it's immediate calming because what's happening is it's bringing me here. It's bringing me here. You know, there's nothing else happening except for here. And this is where God is. You know, like I say often, we're fish swimming in this water looking for God. This water called God. And so I hope that helps, this practice of just being here, just being here. Chris talks about Greek mythology, that there is a Greek mythology, you're going to love this one, Dan, is like a minotaur in the center of a labyrinth. And that our lives are this labyrinth, and at the center of the labyrinth is a minotaur that's a beast. But this beast is called Asterion, which means star. And so the idea of, as Dan has told us, our labyrinth maker over here, he says that a maze is what you get lost in, and a labyrinth is how you find yourself. So this world, as you know, you think you're going on this journey and you're going to have this experience at a particular job, and then something else happens, and all of a sudden you're going over here, and then somebody else calls. And so there's nothing about, life is not about a straight line. So if you want it to be a straight line, maybe there's another planet you'd like to visit. But it isn't like that. And then at the center is this experience of either feeling this beast, this out of control, or the star of who you are. And it's really this being able to tune in to that way of living, that if there is this confusion about what's happening, just look for, there's a gift that is going to be in the midst of it. I'll tell you, Spring Forward Day is my least favorite day of the year. It just is, all right? I love mornings, sitting on my balcony with a cup of coffee, not getting all dressed up and doing something early in the morning. But Spring Forward morning is this plot that someone dreamed up that is just totally against me. And so I had to get up an hour earlier, and I was not feeling my usual perky, can't wait to go to church self, but I had to come, right? And so what I'm saying is it was dark. It was still dark, and I was getting ready, and all of a sudden it started getting lighter, and I looked outside because I'm never, ever awake at this time of day, and what did I see? A sunrise. The coolest, most beautiful sunrise, and water over the lake. And all of a sudden, all of that, this big, huge plot that was against me turned out to be this gorgeous miracle that I never experienced. And that was there all the time, right? Every morning, I have a feeling the sun's rising right there. And but the irony of it, this sort of maze, this labyrinth that I went through in experiencing, being tired or being frustrated, and then the world went, but guess what? Now you get to experience this. And if you'd been luxuriously sleeping that extra hour, you would have missed the sunrise. And so there I got the star. I had the beast going, and then I got the star. So my question to us today, when we're talking about the power of you, this huge sense of God, I talked about, going out and trying to find jaws in our boat, and, Roy Scheider said we need a bigger boat. And so how can we get into that sense of largeness? So my question is, are you dealing with the beast, or are you dealing with the star? What do you choose today? And do you know that it is the choice for each and every one of us in every moment? And we got to be okay if we're in our beast. It's okay. Be nice to yourself. I think what you find when you stay in this kind of a community and consciousness long enough, the beast doesn't have much power anymore. It doesn't really have any teeth. It kind of pretty soon you go, I could be happy. I could have had a V8. I could actually look for something that is pleasant right now. And that's what you'll find. We went as a family, which is always tricky. We went to Colorado, and I went through a corn maze with my family. I don't know what I was thinking. So we all thought it sounded like a fun adventure. And so we started off, and we're going through this corn maze, and they had this map you could follow, but it was really small, and we're all getting older, and none of us could even barely read it. And the kids didn't care anyway. They were just having fun. As you'll notice, that kid in you needs to get ignited. But there was a guy up on some kind of a stilt thing in the middle. So, if you were really in trouble, you could have a conversation with God. But so we were wandering, and before you know it, everybody's like, "This is not fun. Nobody even brought any food? Does anybody have any water? I knew this was a stupid idea. I told you I didn't want to do this, and who thought of this? And people don't do this. This is not what normal people do." And so I said, I'm trying to be on a spiritual path here, y'all. And I wonder if we could just stop talking, because that always is good for us. And maybe we could, if we would tune in to something more true, we could kind of, feel this right, left, or we could have fun with it, or we could be like these kids that are with us that just want to explore. And then it doesn't have to be a problem. And I think that's what this whole thing is for. It's kind of like a metaphor for life. And they're like, yeah, you always say this stuff. But it was, so we practiced that listening. Like I was asking you guys, feel your clothes and feel your lungs. And we were able to navigate this maze without the feeling of, oh my gosh, I've got another dead-end street. Oh my gosh, this didn't work out. Oh, this person I trusted betrayed me, and now everybody in the world is not trustworthy. I started this job, and it was my brand new adventure, and the boss is horrible, and all bosses are horrible, and on and on. Rather than recognizing something new wants to be born through your experience. See, my friends, we've become very addicted to what we call, what is the F word that's not the bad one? The word that blocks you from taking risks. Fear, right? Okay, and there's lots of acronyms for fear, but I like to think of fear as forgetting everything's all right, okay? So I love movies because they help me laugh about the thing that scares me. And I've showed this clip before about a year ago. It's one of my favorites. It's from the film Defending Your Life. And if you haven't seen the film, or if you have, the Albert Brooks is the star. And he is hit by a bus listening to Barbra Streisand, as he would be listening to Barbra Streisand. And he is sent to a place called Judgment City. And in Judgment City, they look at your life. And they decide if you have selected fear often, or if you've selected love, God, faith. And he has a lawyer to help him defend his life, and his lawyer is Rip Torn, which I think would make you pretty nervous right at the beginning. But Rip Torn's name is Mr. Diamond, and so Albert, or Daniel, has just arrived in Judgment City, and he's trying to figure out where he is, and it's a very interesting conversation about fear. So see if you can relate.
What are you looking at? What's wrong?
You look good in that tupa. Some people don't, but you do. It's flattering to you.
Thanks.
So, is this what you thought it would be?
Thought what would be? Where am I? Is this heaven?
No, it isn't heaven.
Is it hell?
No, it isn't hell either. Actually, there is no hell. Although I hear Los Angeles is getting pretty close. Well, Daniel, let me tell you what's going on. When you're born into this universe, you're in it for a long, long time. You have many different lifetimes. And after each lifetime, there's an examining period, which you're in now. You see, every second of every lifetime is always recorded. And as each one ends, we sort of look at it. Look at a few of the days, examine it. And then if everybody agrees, you move forward.
What do you mean move forward?
I mean, move forward, continue onward. The point of this whole thing is to keep getting smarter, to keep growing, to use as much of your brain as possible. For example, I use 48% of my brain. Do you know how much you use?
47?
3.
Sorry?
3?
I use 3% of my brain?
Yes, don't worry about it. Everybody on Earth uses 3% of their brain. 3 to 5%. That's why they're there.
3%? 3%? You mean nobody on Earth uses more than that?
When you use more than 5% of your brain, you don't want to be on Earth, believe me. Well, not that your takeout places aren't lovely, but there's many more exciting destinations for smarter people. Now, being from Earth as you are and using as little of your brain as you do, your life has pretty much been devoted to dealing with fear.
It has?
Well, everybody on Earth deals with fear. That's what little brains do.
What are little brains?
That's what we call you folks behind your back.
Forgive me, he says. Yes, I tell you, we got to laugh. We got to laugh. And what we're doing here is, of course, being willing to use 100% of our brains, so nobody will call us little brains. Not that it would bother us anyway, because we're so evolved. But this idea of every opportunity is an opportunity to ask ourselves, am I choosing fear or am I choosing faith? And I used to think this whole life, like a bunch of life thing, was the weirdest thing I ever heard. But I sort of like that today. I sort of like this, this is a lifetime where I get to figure this out as the being called Heidi or whatever I want to call myself, right? And then the next, because I lived in Hawaii and they're all blossoming flower, they changed their names. So the point is that after this life, maybe I'm learning some things that I take to the next life. I don't know. But I like the thought that this isn't the end, that I don't all have to figure it out, that this isn't sort of I'm bad or I'm wrong or I'm not enough. That somehow, and Chris explains this really well, that we can study and we feel like we've got to improve ourselves rather than we need to unfold ourselves or expose the love that you are. That we need to we need to read the little writing to people so the God in one person can see the God in you. It's that sense of namaste. And forgive ourselves. Look at these stories that we've learned from our families and look at the experience of our life and forgive ourselves and recognize that we were always doing the best we could do. I understand Chris's plight. My 15 to 25 was the most horrible part of my life. And I think for a lot of us, that's where we're starting to figure out, how do I experience being an adult in the world? What skills do I have, or like I have none, which is for most people. He experimented with drugs, but my sister she was the perfectionist, was her world. So it may be that you never touched a drug, but you were like, if I don't do everything perfect, I'm going to perish. Or I'm supposed to make sure this world is completely orderly when we're making it up as we go along. I know my parents were in a lot of pain. I think their parents were in a lot of pain. And we didn't have a conversation how to get out of pain. It was, slap on a happy face, eventually have a drink, and just deal with it, right? And so there was no pain management happening. I always liken it to sticking a happy sticker on your gas tank. Oh, well, we're just going to pretend to be happy, and we're running out of gas. So in my senior year in high school, things were really, really bad. And my parents, one of my girlfriends had gone to a all-girls school. And my parents thought, let's try something. So they sent me to an all-girls school in San Antonio, Texas. And we drove from Houston to San Antonio, and I was screaming. I mean, I did not want to do this. And I recognized my beast was in play, right? I mean, the universe was really giving me this opportunity for something different to happen to me. And I was fighting it. Anybody ever fought anything that was good for you? And fought like a new food plan or an opportunity to grow, and it's not fun. Let's go on a silent retreat, right? Who wants to do these things? So I fought it, and I got to this school, and it was all girls, and it was a very structured program, and I didn't have all the drama of my family and my surroundings, and I did miraculously well. It was amazing when you take booze and drugs and crazy people out of somebody's life, how they can grow. Right? How the passion of that. Now, I'll tell you what I had to get used to, and we talked about it last week, was a productive person in the world. Was a healthy woman. And as we start doing this, you being a healthy person and having healthy friends and coming to a prosperity class and for your life to start working can start feeling really weird. And if we don't maintain that with community and with, really staying in conversation about how to be awake and how to be out of fear, we go back to our old ways. And don't you know it, one of those crazy guys from Houston called me and said, oh, why don't we just go away for a day and we'll tell this school that you're with your grandparents. Now, I had a choice right then. And unfortunately, I was only, 16. And my beast part of me, the part of me that was really the self-sabotaging part of me, was so much stronger than this part of me that had just experienced 6 weeks in this program of structure and love and support. And so I didn't have the strength to say, no, I'm healthy. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. God has his center is everywhere and circumference is nowhere. That did not come out of my mouth. What did come out of my mouth was, sure, let's give that a try. And I will say that of course, that's why I think I got on this path so early. I got caught for everything. And so they found out, of course, and my poor grandparents had to say, no, she wasn't here. And I had to be sent in front of the headmaster of the school who had one glass eye. And he looked at me with that one eye and the other eye, I don't know. And he said, young lady, we are going to have to separate you from the school. And I felt that shame, that huge feeling of, this is who I am. I'm a person that gets in trouble. I'm a person that can't do it right. I'm a person that's always going to be separated from what I love. And I believed that like Chris did. And so it kept manifesting. And I went home. I flew from Houston to San Antonio to Houston, and I had not had a drink in all that time, and I had 3 drinks on that 30-minute flight. And my father picked me up, and I have never seen such a look on his face or a feeling in my heart. And both of us thought, I'm not good enough. He didn't know who he was. I didn't know who I was. And that was the journey, that nobody knew how to wake up. And that's why we come here, y'all, because we want to wake up. It was years later that I found unity and 12 steps and all that kind of consciousness did, that kind of fertile ground, was that you're okay. And it's going to feel weird to say that about yourself for a while. And then it won't be. And then, the minotaur, the beast, will try to get, somebody will ask you if you want to be the beast today with them, and you'll go, no. But if you want to be the star with me, let's do that. You see who shows up. You see who hangs around. Because self-discovery and self-acceptance and being with self is, you got to know who you are. And your journey, like everyone's, is going to be a maze. It's going to be a labyrinth. And at the center is you. And that's how it goes every single time. So I invite you that if you're feeling like a star today, fabulous. Please talk to somebody and love somebody up since you're feeling that way. And if you're feeling like the beast, invite somebody to listen to you. Go to have a prayer with a chaplain. Say, I need to talk today. Because that's how the beast starts shifting back into the star. I have so many great examples of you all, whether it's prosperity class or just coming and talking to me. And one example for a teacher for all of us is Sean Harris. I was called, Peter called me and said that Sean is a blind man, and Sean lives his life fully. He lives his life like the Spirit of God that's within him, rather than something that's happened to him. And he was out walking. He was going to a musical performance about a month ago, and he was walking down the street with the vibrancy of Sean, and he ran into a pole, and it split his eyeball. And there was a security guard nearby that came over and helped him up and helped him clean up his eye, and he ended up getting on the train and went home, and his brother said, Sean, your eye is bleeding. And he said, we need to go to the hospital. So they went in an ambulance to the hospital. They had to change to another hospital. They sewed up his eye. And I called Sean to ask him how he's doing. I was away at the time, but about a week later, and he said, I'm good. I'm good. He said that this things happen to you. But it's not, but the spirit in me is so much bigger than being blind. He said, I said, can you tell me the story? Because I think that is just such a remarkable thing to say. Most of us are dealing with maybe a little money challenge or some kind of a family issue. But to be able to really embrace what could be a beast, what could be a sense of feeling like a victim for the rest of your life, And Sean said that when he was 4, he had the glaucoma and lost sight in one eye, and when he was 13, he lost sight in the other eye. And his family encouraged him to just go to school, do his thing, live his life, keep singing. And Sean said for him, this world of, I mean, I'm talking to him, I'm like, so tell me, isn't there some sadness and some frustration? He's like, no. He said, I kind of dealt with it for a few weeks. I'm like, what? You know, and I'm just amazed by the spirit of people. He said, that is not bigger than the spirit of me. And every day I have the opportunity to say, how am I going to grow through this? What is mine to do? How do I navigate around this world? How do I ask for help? How do I not ask for help? What can I do myself? But how do I live my soul journey and see that nothing happens to me, but everything happens for me? And Sean is a remarkable teacher for all of us. We're going to interview him on a Wednesday night in April. And can we give Sean a hand for being the remarkable guy he is? Woohoo! And I appreciate you with my barrage of questions. He's like, oh yeah, let me tell you this, and let me tell you this. And it's fast. I can't wait till the interview because, you know, this idea of what happens around Sean a lot is people get in their own fear and then, you know, won't, you know, try to, you know, assist him in ways he doesn't need to be assisted or not assist him in ways, you know, anyway. The point is we got to learn how to let the God in me talk to the God in you. And it's just an amazing journey when we do that. So one of the many tools that we use here at Unity is affirmations. And you know, we'll do the other thing about conscious awakening. Chris calls this idea of moving beyond fear and moving into the power of you called conscious awakening. And we're always awakening consciously. Oh, he's so cute. He should come up here. So the thing about the symptoms of conscious awakening, all right, are an increased sense of awareness or sensitivity. And you know, Sean, by all means, has this great sense of this awareness and sensitivity. But to start noticing the, you know, the ways, the synchronicities, that the thing that you're thinking about, now somebody else is talking about it. Or you're looking for something and all of a sudden there it is, and you realize it started in your mind. A friend of mine from Kansas City who has sort of Jay's position in Kansas City called me and she said, Heidi, I've just been thinking about you. She said, I'm reading this book, if you've heard of it, by Chris Michaels called The Power of You, and I cannot quit thinking about you. And I had to call you and tell you hello and that I loved you. And I'm like, is that just so weird? I mean, she doesn't know we're reading this book, and you know, she's in Kansas City and she's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just thinking about you. And I'm sort of, yeah. You know, I mean, how many of us think, oh my gosh, life is so disconnected and nobody knows how to talk and men are like this and women are like this and life is hard and money is scarce and, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, it's not true. We're all connected. It's really cool. Unlimited possibility. And we're going to experience a huge surge of creativity. We have our wonderful volunteer, Martha, back there that comes every Tuesday. And I would have thought the front office was clean by now, but every Tuesday she's there clearing out yet more of it. And I'm laughing because I look in there, and for most people, what the heck's wrong with this office? Why do we have all this garbage? And she's like, look what I found. Oh my gosh, we could clear this out. And look, ooh, I found this from, 1945. Or, and I mean, it's just a scream to see how much fun she's having because she's here volunteering and she's in her essence of God. God's big. So thank you, Martha, for showing up. And then often you can have this feeling of overwhelming regret. Why did I stay so long in this relationship that wasn't alive for me? Why did I, get stuck in that health challenge and not see what could, how I could heal that? And why did I, why was I at this job that I hated? Why did I drink so long and now I just got sober? It's, so this idea that what's happening is you're the beginning of the end of who you used to be. That person that was dedicated to misery is starting to go to lose the grip. This idea of, okay, I could be happy. I may let myself just be in that imagination of, and you are going to regret, you're going to release, and you're going to probably grieve that old self. But don't worry, it's just like winter. We don't really care. And I'm so glad that it will be going away, and you will see the sunrise, and you will be amazed at how much is in you that nobody told you until you came here. So we have some affirmations that I'm going to let you guys, we're going to end our time together with these affirmations. And we're all going to say them together. You know what, I'm going to say one line because then Sean can repeat it. So I'll say it and then you can repeat it together. And it is in your bulletin so you can take it home and every morning, every hour, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I am responsible for my own life because I am in charge of what I think. I am responsible for my own life because I am in charge of what I think. My self-worth is determined by the power and presence of God within me. My self-worth is determined by the power and presence of God within me, not by the people around me. All right, so I'll read that one line. I am in charge of my destiny. I am in charge of my destiny. I am the captain of my own ship. I choose what enters my mind and my world. My thoughts are centered and focused in the affirmative. I consciously direct them toward that which I want to see manifest in my life. I do not allow negative thoughts to take up residence in my mind. I love myself exactly as I am right now. I do not have to lose weight. Or get more money. Or find a mate. Before I approve of who I am. And so it is. All right, so that you take that home, and next week you're going to be believing that. And watch out, you are the bomb. Okay, that's how it goes. All right, so in closing, self-acceptance. Step away from the crowd. People that say, you're nuts. You can say, you know what? It's working pretty well for me. So step away from the crowd. Listen to the spirit within that whispers in your ear, follow me. I will take you to your dreams. Be brave. Take bold action. Showing up here is pretty bold. Take bold action toward your best ideas. Let go of the need for others' approval. Feel the strength that comes from insisting on your own path. So we are, my friends, on the road less traveled. I'd like to give yourselves a hand for showing up for this. And we're going to try something a little new today. We're going to sing Blessed Always twice going into meditation, but Gretchen's gone, and I love to sing. So I will be, Peter and I will inflict ourselves on y'all, but y'all can sing too, which is really good. Okay, so we're going to sing Blessed Always twice into this time of listening, and then we'll sing Blessed Always twice coming out.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen.
You breathe into this place of rest and triumphantness. We allow the power that resides within us be present. And we allow this now moment to be our experience. You are the essence of God in action. The hugeness of the universe beats in your heart. You are released from any chains that bind you by knowing you have the key. And so we feel our bodies, we feel into our bodies. We feel the clothes on our bodies and the fabric that was made somewhere in the world, and now it's keeping you comfortable. And we feel the chair that was made somewhere in the world, and now it's seating you. And so we let our mind relax into this huge vibration of support, of love, of wellness, of ease. This is a very sacred time in your day, in your week. Your communion with the infinite. So as we let ourselves release the old worn out belief of fear, we invite the childlike spirit, the radiant you, to burst forward by asking the question, if I wasn't afraid, I would. If I wasn't afraid, I would. If I wasn't afraid, I would. And fill in that space. But allow spirit to fill in that space. And if the space needs to remain, allow it to be that pregnant pause that is full of fertile soil that will be filled when you least expect it. So we rest in this soothing, nurturing music of Peter's. And allow yourself to know how blessed you are, how important you are, how unique you are. So we let the fine, never come again energy of you reveal to you, if I wasn't afraid, I would. We relax, we remember, and we renew. Our master teacher, Jesus Christ, told us that we will know the truth, and the truth will set us free. That we will choose today who we will serve and what we will serve. So I allow that star, that beautiful, innocent, radiant child that was born however many years ago, to live its purpose. I live my purpose with ease and grace. And I know I was born for amazing things. So we anchor this time of seeing the world as plotting for our good, that sunrise that's right behind the darkness. And we know that as we come and commit to this vibration, the way is made easy. So we allow it to be a grand adventure. And we start right here and right now. And so it is. And let us sing together 2 more times. Blessed always, just recognizing that the blessedness of you is always and in all ways.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
If you'd like to hold hands, you can.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surrounds us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
We invite you to speak the names of those you would like held in prayer into the sacred space, and we include all those people that have emailed or requested with Jay. In this moment, we hold our beloved community in our hearts and prayers. We hold Rev Heidi, our board, our staff, all our volunteers in our powerful prayer energy. And we bless each one of them. May our peace and oneness bless all of our brothers and sisters throughout the world. Thank you, God, for prayers already answered. Today, our prayer chaplains are Sue Ellen, Rosie, and I'm Michael. And we are here to support you in prayer. If you would like, we were talking about today, come into the moment. And as Reverend Heidi asked, if I wasn't afraid, I would. And I suspect that there's people that have something on their mind or their heart, and if they weren't afraid, they might come and pray with us. It's very simple. Take this moment right now, like we were talking about. Come into the present right now with us. Share what's on your heart, and we will do, like Rev Heidi suggested, that horizon that you didn't want to get up for, that you didn't want to speak, that you didn't want to talk about. Let's find God in there, and let's affirm God's perfect outworking in the situation. And we'll be right over here in the Fillmore room. Thank you.
Thank you. We weren't like too bad. That was okay. All right. Thank you for singing. Yes, he said, well, Gretchen's not going to be here at the second service. I'm like, okie dokie. All right, so just like that, voice is in you, certainly prosperity is your way of life. So we give from the place of really recognizing how we've received. So you receive from one of many channels of good. Your financial well-being, again, is one of many channels. We receive love, we receive money, we receive gifts and generosity and kindness. So your gifts, of course, support everything that goes on in this building and our staff and our music and all the things that happen here. So we just know if you really keep a full heart and recognize appreciation, the only way to keep it in the flow is to give where you're spiritually fed. So let us bless this one of many channels of your good, and we can say together our conscious giving blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and so it is. Good. Oh, we're doing gratitude. Everybody sing, and you're going to be doing the hand signals too. Are we already to the right one?
Gratitude before me,
Gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me. Oh, it's okay.
gratitude above me,
Gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me.
I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
All right. Okay, that backup singer, I always wanted to be. I got to tell you, you hang around here long enough, who knows what you're going to end up doing. All right, so we just celebrate generosity. So let's breathe into that place of this beautiful generosity. We appreciate Randy and Donna and Gloria for showing up and being part of the energy of this gratitude. It's wonderful to reflect on how much Unity in Chicago has shifted the way you see yourself. And we just must stay in the flow, just like energy. There's nothing stagnant about your awakening. So we give from that sense of, I cannot outgive spirit, and I must create the space for new things to happen. And so we just charge these resources with that energy of gratitude and generosity. So we'll say together our consciousness giving blessing. We are grateful for these gifts of faith and love. We recognize these are signs of our prosperity and highest good. We affirm God is in action right here and right now. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. All right. So Brian Fallon with some more updates. Yes. All right.
Oh, come on now. It's announcements. Let's have a little excitement. Yeah. There we go. I'll even make sure I'm on the right page. Today's beautiful flowers were donated generously by Barbara Woodbury and Tom Skinner, and they attend the 9:30 service. They met 18 years ago while decorating here at a Unity in Chicago dance. And so they want you all to know that tithing your time and talents and treasures has its rewards. So, and they are a living example of that, and it's love, Tom and Barbara. We wish them a happy anniversary, many more happy years together, and we're so grateful for the many ways that they express their love here in our community. So thank you, Tom and Barbara. For those of you that might be joining us for the first time today, we have a small gift of welcome. So if you could raise your hand with me so our ushers can find you. Get the hands up. Come on, over here. First timers are right over here. Keep your hands up so our ushers can find you. Marilyn's on her way. Great. Along with your carnation, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. So if you can join us downstairs in the library, there's a big blue welcome sign, and the folks down there can answer any questions that you might have. We're glad you've decided to be with us today, and thanks. We hope to get to know you a little bit better. Now the real announcements. The Unity Garden team, I know, look out there, looking for the garden, but the Unity Garden team will be coming out of hibernation after this long winter, which really hasn't been that bad, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, remember last year, people, okay? This has been lovely, lovely. Anyway, they're bringing spring plant sale to us for the last 2 Saturdays in March. So on the 22nd and 29th, they'll be offering a new lineup of colorful flowers and luscious veggies to be delivered just as your green thumb sprouts in early May. I didn't write that. Proceeds will help fund our Unity Garden, and the plants will brighten yours. The Divine Light healing sessions are offered by certified practitioners in the Oak Room following both services today. These are healing sessions that are offered free of charge. If you're not sure where the Oak Room is, go all the way to the end of the Sunshine Gallery. There's a door and a little stairway and hook a left. Reverend Heidi mentioned our Wednesday service, so plan to join us this week. Our cafe will be catered by one of our favorite restaurants, Andy's, and that starts at 6 p.m. This Friday, our Taizé team is offering the monthly Taizé service. It's a gentle evening of meditation, song, sacred silence, and candle lighting. If you've never joined us for a Taizé and you're kind of hesitant about it, it's one of those things that just takes the week, puts it in perspective. It's like a big, long, easy sigh into the weekend. So we invite you to join us, and that's at 7 o'clock on Friday. Lynn Villari Williams, waver, well, a bigger wave than that, Lynn, come on. Yeah. We'll be offering Naked Feng Shui, the bare essentials. Now, I understand that's not about the dress code, so we're pretty good. And that'll be next Sunday, March 15th at 1:30, and you can visit Lynn in the gallery today for any questions that you might have. Reverend Heidi mentioned that she'll be having LG Bailey with her on the radio show this Monday, and also LG works with Master Stephen Coe, and we'll be welcoming Master Coe to Unity on Wednesday, March 25th. And now Dan Paterno is going to give us a little update.
Hello, I'm Dan Paterno. I'm running the Unity Business Directory, and ad sales are going really well, but we're finding that we need to extend it a little bit more just because everyone seemed to need a little bit more time. So the actual deadline is next Sunday. So think about if you have a hobby, small business, a service you want to offer, think about being part of the Unity Directory. And it will be available online for a free download. There'll be a PDF that you can download. And you could also, there'll be some print versions that you can find around the center. So I'll be next door. If you have any questions, please come and find me and I'll help you out. Thanks.
And thank you, Dan, for all the ways that you share your gifts and your talents with us. Thanks. Jay, the kiddies are just not bothering with us today. They're just, we thought they were just late for the first service, but the kiddies will be with us next week, perhaps. That's kitties, like the furry ones, okay? Let's welcome back Sean Harris.
Upon a star, your dreams will take you very far, yeah. But when you wish upon a dream, life ain't always what it seems, oh yeah. When you see the light so clear, yeah, in the sky so very deep, you're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be, what you can truly be. Shining star coming to you, shine its watchful light on you, give you strength to carry on, yeah. Make your body big and strong, yeah. Born a man, child of the sun, yeah, yeah. Summer work had just begun, yeah. Thought I had to stand alone, yeah. Ah, listen now, I got my own, oh yeah, oh yeah. So when you feel yourself in need, why don't you listen to these words of heed? Be a giant grain of sand, words of wisdom, yes I can. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Thank you. Can I hug you? I'm going to hug you. Yes, thank you. Oh, you're a shining star. There you are. Oh, my gosh. All right. So, yes. John is so cool. Okay, so we can just stay standing here, and one of our affirmations on the back of self-worth. And it's not that the people around you aren't lovely, but you are the one that has to know the God within you. So it says, together, my self-worth is determined by the power and presence of God within me, not by the people around me. Give them a break, right? All right, so weave ourselves out of here.